So I'm here at my grandma's house right now, and she is, as of today, how old are you today, Grandma? How old are you?
107 and 1 day.
She's 107 and 1 day. That's incredible. Have you ever met anybody?
I was 107
Nope, not ever.
on Sunday, but
Not
they-
That's
ever.
gentleman.
This Tuesday, but on 2 days.
It's
July.
sorry, 107 and 2 days. How does it feel to be one of the oldest women in the world?
I hope I'm not.
Well, you're one of very few to be as old as you are. What is your secret to long life?
I have no idea.
Do you exercise?
Well,
Have you ever ran a mile in your life?
oh no, I never have done any of that kind of business.
Do
But
you
that was
are you a
guy me and I-
vegetarian?
Huh?
Are you a vegetarian?
No.
Do you eat meat?
Yes.
What kind of meat do you eat?
Well, I like pork and I like beef and I like chicken and but I'm not a big meat eater.
Okay. Do you eat sweets?
Yes.
What kind of sweets do you eat?
Most anything that you put out.
What's your favorite sweet?
Oh, I don't know.
You like chocolate, right?
Yes, I like chocolate.
Seems like every Christmas we give you bags and bags of chocolate.
Yeah, and you help yourself when you go out there.
All right.
A bowl on the table that Edward had brought me a big bag, and he brought me a couple other boxes.
So you were born in what year?
1903.
1903. So since
March
you
the 21st.
since you were born, you have seen the automobile? How old were you when you saw your first car?
I was probably in my teens, and I remember the 4th of July, and they always had a celebration, and they always had a parade and this and that and everything, picnic, and the son of one of the richest guys, probably a rancher around there, has just gotten a new car, and he drove up to the park, and he drove around, and that was the first car that I'd ever seen. And I remember the first airplane.
How old were you?
I think in high school at that time.
Wow. In high school, and you saw your first.
Maybe it sounded concerning, but I remember a plane was going to come over, and the principal notified our particular class that we were having, and we went upstairs and saw it from the second or third floor. We saw this plane going over. It wasn't very big.
It wasn't.
And then they used to have these little planes, and they'd come to the small towns, and they'd take people for a ride for $5 or $10 around town. We never did any of that.
So you lived in Chicago for a time, and when you were there, it was during the Great Depression.
Oh.
What was it like when the stock market crashed?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I know there was a lot of very important people that jumped out of windows.
Yeah.
It was lots of suicides.
What was it like living during the Great Depression?
Well, we got along. We accepted that we couldn't do anything else.
Mhm.
We were just waiting until things came about.
Yeah.
And Ted and one of his buddies, maybe a couple of them, were making bathtub gin.
Bathtub gin!
Yeah. And on Saturday night, they get together and they test whatever they were putting together, and
Bathtub gin.
that's what they call it.
And so
bathtub gin.
at that time, you were working. How much were you making a week in the Great Depression?
Well, before that, I think I was making 17 plus commission,
Yeah.
and I lost that job. That was down in Chicago, and I got a job at one of the stores in Evanston, which I could go by bus or streetcar.
Yeah.
And that was only 5 or 10 cents.
Yeah.
And the elevator was only about 10 cents to go from where we lived, and we lived in the far north, the last street in Chicago.
Uh-huh.
Because Evanston was right, a cemetery separated us.
Yeah.
We were about 2 or 3 blocks from Lake Michigan, so that's where we had a lot of picnics and swimming and
So you were making $12 a week?
half days.
Half days, $12 a week. How much was it to go and see a movie back then?
Probably about 10 cents.
Yeah.
Wow. 10 cents.
Didn't see that many movies.
No, couldn't afford it. Too much money. What would you guys do for fun, for entertainment?
I don't know. There was 4 or 5 couples, and we were all. I don't know what we did, but we just had a lot of fun together on weekends and picnics and going to the beach. And
Now, your father, what did he do?
my father was a railroad man.
What did he do for the railroad?
He was a station master for Dawes City, the town we lived in. But he started working for them when the Illinois Central broke their line through from Chicago to Omaha.
Uh-huh.
And he was hired because he had been out in he spent 2 years with an aunt and went to college, and he learned, because everything was railroading in that time, the families, and he went to college. He learned telegraphy.
Telegraphy. So he was a
'Cause
telegraph
they didn't,
operator.
Yeah, because they didn't have all these other things, got communications. Even though it was hard to get a telephone. I remember when we got our telephone.
How old were you when you got your telephone?
Oh, I don't know. I was probably a teenager.
A teenager. And when you picked it up, you got an operator. And
Yeah,
you would say, how would you call somebody?
Just call me up, a ring on my hand. It was all a box.
It was a box.
And you ring, and they answer. I want to talk to so and so, and they'd have everybody's telephone number on a switchboard. So all they have to do is push this thing, and we'd talk. And I remember when we got our first electricity.
How old were you when you got your electricity?
About the same. It was. I was just a kid, in maybe early teens.
So you guys, did you have indoor plumbing?
Oh no.
Oh no, so you had to use an outhouse. This is just like how you grew up, baby. No electricity, outhouse. Wow, so what would you do in the cold nights? I mean, it's snowing. What do you do when you have to go poo?
We always had a bucket.
A bucket.
On our closed-in back porch, and I don't remember. I guess we used that. Otherwise, why we just had to put on our coats and go out
Woo!
outside.
Wow.
Two
So
or 3 holer.
now you're sitting in a house with a TV. When did you get your first TV?
I don't remember.
That long ago.
But I remember the first one I saw. I had a picture about 7 inches wide. A friend in Evanston got it, and we went up. We had to their place on had a barbecue or something, and they brought out the new television that they just got. It was on so wide.
Wow.
And you can imagine 5 or 6 people standing around watching that. But
Wow.
But Ted died in 1963. We came on here in 56, so all was happening before 56.
Wow. Wow. Quite a life you've led. You've led quite a life.
I don't regret any of it. I can look back and I think about it, and the things that we did were just normal things that everybody did.
Mm-hmm.
And we never knew they thought we were poor or anything. But Dad worked for the Illinois Central, and when that line opened, he was one of the first ones they put him in, because he had communicated with them before. They had him all lined up because he knew so much telegraphy. And he went to several towns on the branch and started their stations. And they would have different towns. And they came to Dawes City. Well, he was there for several weeks getting it organized, and he said, "This is where I want to stay." But they wanted to send him on, and he never left there. And he worked there for 55 years.
Wow.
For the Illinois Central.
It's incredible. I mean,
He did
you're
their first
you're-
shipping of livestock and everything.
you're as old as John Dillinger would be. You're as old as Al Capone would be. You have any questions for anything that comes to mind? I mean, somebody who's lived this long. I mean, what do you ask somebody? What do you think of technology today? I mean, what do you think of the iPhone, the cell phone, the...
I don't know much about them. They're beyond me almost.
Wow, what if I told you you're on camera right now?
I don't take any pictures. We've got plenty of them.
What is your message to the world? What is your...
Just take each day as it comes. Thank God you're here, and do a little praying.
Yeah. Amen.
I don't know.
What do you think about our music, about Christafari? What do you think about our music and what we do?
I never have heard it.
But I keep giving you CDs.
I know, but I have no way to play it, so I give them back to Ed.
You heard Avion sing one day. Didn't you hear Avion sing?
Never have.
Well, one time you heard me sing at your 100th birthday party. Avion and I sang, and you came up to me afterwards and you said, "What language was that in?"
I don't remember.
You don't remember that? What an incredible thing. Well, I'm going to go and prune your roses for your birthday present. I love you, Grandma. I'll see you in a bit, okay?
Okay.
Great.
Isn't that experience?
So maybe
So I just pruned the roses. We just had an awesome visit with Grandma. What did you think?
Oh, it's one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. I've never ever met a woman that's 107. So much history, so much knowledge, and she has like this keen memory. It's like she remembers everything. So for me, it was honorable. It was an honor to be here, to meet Mark's granny. Yeah, love.
I love her advice.
Yeah.
Live one day at a time.
One day at a time. Pray. And what was the other one? One day at a time. Pray.
Have chocolate. Avion says she's going for the chocolate. Just like how Jesus takes care of the birds.
Yeah.
He takes care of us.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful.
And Avion's going for chocolate.
Yeah.
You like the vase, Grandma?
Huh?
Well, you like the vase?
The rose. The big rose. Like it? Yeah, that's fine. Some of them are first, and that's fine. They won't last too long because they were.
Yeah, but they're so beautiful.
Did you see my orchid plant in here?
Your orchid?
Yeah, come in and look at this orchid.
107 years old, and she's still scooting around on her own.
A lady like this.
I was just seeing it. It's the first time.
I'm so glad you're with them.
Yes.
They're a nice family.
Yes, 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 you are.
When Ed and Margaret were up north, about a month or two ago, they bought this for me for my birthday.
That is
and
beautiful.
Some of it was in buds when they brought it a week ago Sunday. And I told them, I says, now when that's finished blooming, you take that home with you and put it on your porch. And one of the girls brought me, on my birthday, brought me the tulips.
Nice. Beautiful. You love flowers, don't you?
Yes, I do. Well, I spend all my time in the garden taking care of something. And I belong to the garden club and a couple of them for years. And that was where my friendships were.
You also belong to the Daughters of the American Revolution.
Yes, and the Eastern Star.
Wow, Daughters of the American Revolution.
One member of the church over here.
You remember back when America became free from England? Well, she comes from that ancestry.
But they apparently they put stakes in there to hold the nut, which is good. Some of these were just buds when they brought this a week ago. And I'm so glad it's lasting like this. I had one out there, I think it's still alive, but I haven't looked at it for so long.
In the yard?
It's bloomed every
In the
day.
backyard?
There was one plant.
The right side?
That plant was given to me when Mr. O'Dean died.
When Mr.
When Ted died.
Ted died.
Bill Dean said he died. Wow. And that was in 1963.
I'm going to go and take a look at it and see if it's blooming. 1963. She's got plants in the yard from the 60s, way back when. Some of these flowers, these rose bushes over there, I'm not sure. I think she's talking about either this or this. I'm not sure. Wow. She sure loves her garden.
I tell you.